Hey everybody, it's Tracy, and I've talked about crypto mixers a lot in the past because they've always existed in this completely gray, call it charcoal area, and now you have the tornado cash issue where OFAC, US OFAC, Office of Foreign Asset Control, sanctioned tornado cash and arrested its founder. The US government subsequently arrested its developer because North Koreans and various others had been using Tornado Cash to effectively launder money. And it brings up two, really what I think are really important points. One, there's a lot of talk on social media about this right to financial privacy. And while I think it's a human right, it's not a legal right, right? There's nothing that in any context, like in traditional fiat banking to crypto accounts, what have you, there's no legal right anywhere in the developed world to financial privacy, right? There's limited rights in terms of credits and stuff like that, but there really is no absolute right. You can call it a human right to privacy, and financial privacy would fall there under, but there's no legal right to it. So to say that I'm using a mixer, I have a right to do that legally is just, there's no basis for that. And the other issue is, and this kind of relates to almost like DAOs, right? People have been shocked and oh wow, the US government arrested the developer of Tornado Cash. Nothing operates in a vacuum, right? Just because there's no headless horseman, right? You can't simply say, well, this is decentralized, this is open source code, and therefore nobody is personally responsible for it. Well, of course there is. There's always a promoter. There's always somebody who originated the idea. There's always somebody who's working on the code, right? Just because other people contribute or because it's not owned, right? It doesn't mean that there's no legal liability for those people that are behind it, right? So, I think those are two really huge issues that come from that dispel a lot of the shit that you see on social media about crypto in general and structures that relate to it. And as far as the actual legalities of a crypto mixer, they're all money service businesses, right? In the US, they're all money service businesses. And where there's a need to register as a money service business and you don't, that carries significant legal penalties, especially if you're allowing the North Koreans to push crypto through your mixer. And outside of just registering as a money service business, on any state level, you're triggering money transmission licenses or in New York bit license, and would need licensure there to properly operate a mixer. And with those obligations, those licensing obligations, comes the obligation to do KYC and AML. And then I guess it defeats the purpose of the mixer, right? So, why would you give KYC if you're going to use a mixer? And that there's other reasons to do it. I get that, right? So I don't think that's that's an argument that you see in the press. Well, you wouldn't use the mixer unless you're doing something legal. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I don't buy that either. But it requires licensing, right? By all accounts, it's just another form of crypto exchange. So, to do it, if you're inclined to do it, don't be a US citizen or really be a citizen of anywhere where there's extradition. And certainly don't run it out of a jurisdiction that has licensing requirements, right? Go to St. Vincent, go to, someplace where it is. And whether it's open source or decentralized isn't going to help you, right? Whether there's some fundamental right that you think exists because of financial privacy, that's not going to help you. The Tornado Cash was a shot over the bow. I think if you were running one or you are running one, if you do geo-block and at least take some measures to, prevent laundering of any kind, right? Especially from the North Koreans, what the fuck is that? I mean, I guess you're less inclined to be on somebody's radar, but it doesn't obfuscate the reasons that you still probably need to be licensed, right, to operate in like the US or UK or anywhere else. So that's my rant on Tornado Cash. Like I personally, I have no feeling towards it. And like, I understand that, people have lost money and I feel bad for those people. And, I think, arresting all these people is the right thing to do? No. Do I think it's more of a civil matter? Yes. But like, the reality is it isn't, right? And so, take it as a cautionary tale, right? In terms of like what you can and can't do as a crypto mixer. So if you have questions about it or are involved with one, you want to just chat about it, definitely hit me up, Adam at AdamTracy, TRACY.io, and I will talk to you next time. Cheers.